Good evening. This is Granny. 2 more weeks left in the month of February to honor some of the persons that maybe we've forgotten about, or maybe you didn't even realize existed. Well, tonight, this Monday night, after all the excitement of the weekend, we wanted to do something a little different. I promise you I won't cry like I did last week when we presented some persons to you. We all know that Granny is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We all have been so humbled and grateful for the persons that have subscribed, that have been following us since we first started. Granny's old hands, Granny's coming out of the closet. What has she been doing? And as I said last week, I promise you when we finish the next week of bringing persons to you that maybe some of us don't know, we'll go back to Granny's old hands. And you can see they're getting older and older by today. Black History Month is a time to remember and reflect, especially at a time when the country is continually reminded of discrimination African Americans have endured and are still subject to by their fellow Americans. February is a time to celebrate the accomplishments of former slaves and civil rights leaders of decades past who helped put an end to segregation and slavery and inspired hope for African Americans. Most of you don't know this, but I'm going to share this with you. About 20, maybe 25 years ago, we had a family reunion, and at the family reunion, we have kind of like a historian in our family. When I say our family, I mean our maternal side. We were presented with a book that gave the origins of our mom's great, great, great grandfather, who initially himself was a free runaway slave in Arkansas. Oh my God, when I got a chance to read that, it just solidified that I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here, and I'm supposed to be determined as ever to make additional contributions to this United States of America. Now, with that said, I would also like to briefly recognize the males that are in my family. I won't call their names, but the team and I added up from grandsons to uncles to brother in laws to sons, probably got close to 50 African males, African American males in our family. And I'm so grateful and so proud tonight to say that I honor them. I may not agree with everything that has transpired, but the more I read about the brutality and what they have suffered, not just the ones in our family, but all over the United States of America and all over the world, um, I'm so grateful that I can at least tonight say I honor them. I would like to honor them. Now, with that said, we are going to tell you about a couple of people that maybe you didn't know about, but it's just fascinating. First gentleman is called Alonzo Hendon. Born into slavery in 1858, after the abolishment of slavery, Herndon's family was forced to leave the plantation of the white slave master, Herndon's white father, into the world with nothing to begin their new life with. In 1878, at a young age, Herndon decided to move to Social Circle, Georgia. Did you get that? Social Circle, Georgia, with only $11 in hand and 1 year of formal schooling, where he would learn to become a barber and soon move to Jonesboro, Georgia. Now, this is interesting to me because this took place in Georgia, just up the road. When he relocated to Jonesboro, he opened his first barbershop, and later he opened two other barbershops, one in particular, listen at this, catering to predominantly white customers, featuring luxurious fixtures and chandeliers, becoming one of the most popular barbershops. one of his large, refined barbershops serving white customers, get this, listen, was damaged by white rioters during the 1906 Atlanta race riot. I didn't even know there had been a race riot in Atlanta. Later, Herndon began to invest in real estate and soon purchased a failing mutual aid association in 1905, which he turned into his very own insurance company. Did you guys hear that? Becoming the founder and president of one of the most successful black owned insurance companies and businesses in the nation, the Atlanta Family Life Insurance Company. It's called Atlanta Life. Atlanta Life, did y'all get that? Still taking place in Atlanta, making Herndon the first African American millionaire in Atlanta and one of the richest African American citizens in the country. Can I repeat that? First African American millionaire in Atlanta and one of the richest African American citizens in the country. When the state of Georgia increased capital requirements for such businesses, he had been approached by a couple of ministers in the community to acquire the company as something for the black community. He incorporated it as the Atlanta Mutual Insurance Association. So many people we don't know about. So many people. He's not in our history books, guys. Check it out. You can check it out. By 1960, the association was reorganized as a stock company, capitalized at $25,000, most of which Herndon bought. In 1922, the company was reorganized as Atlanta Life Insurance Company and became one of 5 African American insurance companies at the time to achieve legal reserve status. Wow. I don't want to take a break. I want to keep going. Atlanta's life business thrived, and they expanded their businesses into Florida, Kansas, Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee, and Texas. Herndon died in July 21st, 1927, at the age of 67, with honors, noting his continuous contributions to specifically black associations and community life, leaving a legacy to his son, Norris B. Herndon, who became notable in his own right, expanding the insurance company into a multi-million-dollar empire. Fascinating. Herndon's home is now a National Historic Landmark designated in the year 2000, located in 587 University Place Northwest in Vine City neighborhood, opened for viewing and touring. Take a break. I dressed like this specifically because I wanted to look special as we talked about some of the African American males, and we know thousands of them. We could have bought Martin Luther King Jr., Cassius Clay, who later became Muhammad Ali, Frederick Douglass. There are just thousands of them, but sometimes there are persons that we never even heard of, and we thought, the team and I thought, let's do something a little different. This man was the first millionaire, African American, and we know the value and the importance of insurance. We know that. We know the value and the importance of acquiring land as people of color. And this guy did this, guys, in this time that some of us live. Now, I was down the road in 1950. You know, he's a little older than I, but just the idea that anything is possible, and even knowing that he had a white father, his master was his father, it didn't stop him from achieving and becoming the best he could be and leaving a legacy. So again, I thought let's dress up, let's do something uh, tonight. This is Monday, February the 21st, and I just wanted to share him. Now, our next story, I know you guys have seen it. Uh, we have researched this. You can do a Google search, and I shall try my best not to cry. But just in case, I got Old Faithful here because, like anything I bring to you, We have researched it, and I'm sure you guys have seen it on Facebook, but I wanted to share it with you so you would understand some of the atrocities that our people have faced and still face today in 2022. And so when I got this, this is not mine. I'm going to put the disclaimer out, but it's a true story. This took place in a place called Wrightsville, Arkansas, just down the road. And when I first got wind of it, I thought, no way, no way. So, like everything, we did research, and there is so much information on this story. I want you guys to just bear with me as I bring it to you. March the 5th, 1959. I was born in 1950, guys. I was 9 years old when this took place. Take a breath, Granny. 69 African American boys, ages 13 to 17, were padlocked into their dormitory for the night at the Negro Boys Industrial School in Wrightsville around 4 a.m. A fire mysteriously ignited, forcing the boys to fight and claw their way out of the burning building. It's an event in history possibly forgotten or unknown by many, but it is that moment that claimed the life of 21 of those boys. I couldn't believe this when I got the chance to read this. I said that couldn't happen. That can't be true. But like I said, search it out. If you don't believe me, do a Google search. And to this day, they still talk about it. To this day, guys, 2022. Come on, Granny, you can do this. It was a carefully calculated murder that involved 21 boys, but was designed to kill all 69 that were housed inside of this dormitory, says Frederick Lawrence. This guy, Frederick Lawrence, has made it his life mission to uncover the truth surrounding what he calls, listen at this, and I don't want to get in trouble, but this is what he calls it, Arkansas's secret Holocaust. Take a breath, Granny. Take a breath. You can do this. Take a breath. Okay, I'm holding on. When the smoke cleared that March morning in 1959, the boys who burned to death were found piled on top of one another in the corner of the dormitory. The 48 who survived managed to escape by prying off mesh metal screens from two windows. The horrific event briefly made headlines. Now, back it up. Briefly made headlines that almost brought attention to the squalor and deplorable conditions in which the boys lived. It's not, what did it say? Almost. How could that almost little bitty information about it? These guys lived in these conditions, and you mean to tell me they were not, oh God, they were not worthy of spectacular news? The conditions were to the point where when 69 boys all go to bed at night in a space barely big enough for them to move around, and they are 1 foot apart from one another, and you had to get up at night and go to the bathroom. They had to defecate in buckets, says Lawrence, and you can look this up. The boys went around in rags. They had one 30-gallon water tank for them to take baths, said Stockley. I want to honor these boys tonight. I don't know if any of them are still living, but I thought they were worthy of me to look the best I could as we brought these young boys to you. I'm fighting the tears. The boys in the school were committed for being orphaned, homeless, or for committing offenses described as mischief and alleged petty crimes. In an ironic twist, the land in which the school stood is now the Arkansas Department of Correction Facility, Wrightsville unit, where you won't find a plaque to indicate the boys ever lived or died. I just I can't believe it. We know so little about so many things that concern our history. We just don't. We know that certain things are being taken out of history books. We know that we're not permitted to share certain things. But I have uh, grandsons. I have sons. And when I read this, I thought that can't be true. So I began, like I said to you, everything I bring you, I began to research, and I thought, there's no way. There's no way. And this man has dedicated his life to getting some answers to this day, to February the 21st, 2022. He still has not been able to get the truth surrounding what happened to these young men. Wow. Wow. Just let's think about that. 69, 21 didn't make it, 48 did. And we don't know what condition they're in today. We don't know emotionally, psychologically, how they're doing. But I'd like to say it's Granny coming out of the closet when we think about them, even when we think about Alfonso, even when we think about other persons that we've presented to you or that perhaps you've seen all this month. Contributions are enormous, guys. We have nothing to be ashamed of. I'm more determined again this week to say, Celeste, you can do it. You can do this. Again, I have grandsons. I have 29. Well, no, 30. And with 31 on the way. And I want to be able to say to them, mm-mm. I don't care what you're called. I don't care how they don't speak to you. And I'm not saying they to be mean. You have something to fight for to make a contribution. You have a reason and you have the fortitude to tell yourself, baby, you got to bring something better than this because we have a history and I'll be dead and gone maybe 20 years. But I want my grandkids and I want my sons and I want my brother in laws and my uncles and the little boys at school that I see to know that you're so valuable and you're needed. I want to speak into their lives as a granny who's coming out of the closet every day. Every day. And you may say, that's all you talk about, is granny coming out of the closet. She coming out of that closet. Irregardless of what you think, irregardless of how you view, irregardless of how you say, she got them big old hands and them big old lips, I'm coming out of the closet. Because I still have stuff to do. And just as these 69 boys, where was everybody at? You could say, where were the parents at? You could say, where were the officials for this to happen? In 1959, guys. Okay. With that said, the last person that we want to bring to you, wow, is Sylvester Magee. He was born May the 29th, 1841, and he died October the 15th, 1971. Take a minute and think about that. Do the math. This is supposedly the oldest living surviving slave in America. I'm going to say his name again. And Sylvester, I dressed up like a queen because you're my king. I wanted the cherry red Jubilee lipstick. I wanted everything that I could pull out of the hat to show you, even though you're not here physically, spiritually. I'm so proud that the team was able to find this information out on you. And here it goes. It says Sylvester Magee is believed to be the last surviving American slave. Now listen, this is a disclaimer, so don't shoot me down. It says, however, as there are no birth records, his actual date of birth cannot be proven. Okay? And we know how we get secondary sources. Okay? But it said it couldn't be proven. The oldest person ever on record lived to be 122. But if Magee was actually born in 1841, he would claim the title. Magee was born in slavery in North Carolina. Here it goes. And was sold at the age of 19 in Enterprise, Mississippi, to work in Covington County. Wow. We have, he escaped slavery and served in the Union Army during the Civil War. Some records show he might have served in the Confederate Army for a time as well. I'm trying not to cry. I told you I got to stay focused, okay? Whew. After the war, he returned to Mississippi. He died in 1971 in Columbia, Mississippi. He is currently buried in an unmarked grave near Foxworth, Mississippi. And I have the sources that I can give you, so you can't say, here go Granny again, don't know what she's talking about. I have the sources, okay? It's called Foxworth Residents Claim Resting Place of Listing American Slaves Discovered. And this was November the 24th, 2021. And there's a web address if you want more information on him. I hope you've enjoyed the three individuals, the 69 boys, Alonzo, and the oldest living slave that we brought to you tonight. Just wanted to do something different. We have one more week, and we're not sure, but next week we hope you join us as we bring some more exciting persons that have made contributions to our world. I can't say it enough. Whatever closet you're in, whatever you have to do to get out of the closet, don't be a victim. Be a survivor. Those 48 young black men that survived that fire, I sure would like to interview, talk, see what they're doing today. Those 21 that didn't make it, and you heard me said they were piled up on top of each other. We weren't meant to come into this world and leave like this. We weren't meant to come in here and face some of the most horrific deaths that we have. We came from good stuff, guys. I believe it, and I'll keep saying it as you come out of your closet. Like us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. You know, we have a Facebook page, and I've already given you the names of persons that make this responsible for us. I'm ever grateful for the opportunity to come before you this Monday night, February the 21st. And even though Black History will be over in a week, our stories will never be over. Our stories, our encounters will never be over. But it's what we do when we going through. One of our young men years ago said, your character comes out of you when you're going through adversity. And how you act when you're in the midst of a storm determines when you get over the other side of that storm. Sometimes we look for the rainbow. Sometimes you can't see the rainbow. Sometimes you just have to say yourself, my character, who I am, the good stuff that I came from, the ancestors who's paved the way for me to sit here today in the comfort of my home and talk about Granny coming out of the closet. We have no idea how many closets they had to come out of, but we're standing on the shoulders of greatness. Please like us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Be sure and subscribe and like and share. A lot of persons probably don't know about these stories that we shared tonight, but we thought it was befitting as Granny's old hands once again to bring you somebody that maybe perhaps you didn't know anything about. And as I said, check out the sources. Don't just take my word. Check out the sources. It's been a pleasure coming before you. And you see, got them long dangling earrings on. And I love this up here. I thought, yeah, I could do it again. Thank you so much for joining us. Be blessed. I could say that. Be safe. Uh, this is President's Day, and however you choose to celebrate it, just know that you know that you know that you're okay. Just know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Just know that you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. Yeah, I'm coming out of the closet. I said it, Becky. And just know that you know on this 21st day of February 2022, so many people are waiting on your story. So many people are waiting for you to tell them, get up, girl, get up, man. It ain't over till you say it's over. So, with that said, one last time, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Have a good rest of your Monday night. This is Granny saying she's out of the closet. Thank you so very much for joining us. Have a good night.